Good evening. I would like to call the March 25th to 2025 City of Pittsburgh Commission meeting to order. Please join me in the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Hi, I'd like to invite Chaplain Amanda Gilmore to open us up with some words of inspiration.
Thank you. I invite you to join me in Christian prayer. Lord God, we just thank you for your grace and your mercy. We thank you for your presence with us. Lord, I ask that you continue to bless this beautiful community of Pittsburgh. Lord, I ask that you make your presence known in each business, in each school, in each healthcare facility, and each home. Lord, I thank you for the honor it is to serve you. Lord, I lift up this council. I ask you to give them your wisdom, your strength, and your peace. And in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. All right, we have a proclamation. We'd like to invite those that are representing Week of the Young Child to join me. Whereas all young children deserve quality early learning environments that support them as capable and competent lifelong learners, and whereas young children need skilled, educated, competent, consistent, and compensated early childhood educators, and whereas early childhood education promotes the intellectual, emotional, and physical development of children, which in turn prepares them to be responsible and contributing members of society, and whereas high-quality early childhood education depends on high-quality childhood educators who ensure that children supported by families have the early experiences they need for a strong foundation, and whereas early childhood professionals and others who make a difference in the lives of young children in Pittsburgh deserve thanks and recognition, and whereas we celebrate the 54th anniversary of the Week of the Young Child, so that we can continue to recognize and advance the early childhood education profession. Now, therefore, I, Dawn McNay, Mayor of the City of Pittsburgh, Kansas, do hereby proclaim April 5th to April 11th, 2025 as the Week of the Young Child, and recognize that the future of our community and state depends on the quality of early childhood experiences provided to our young children today. So, yes. Who wants that? We'll pass it around. Yes. Do you want to share anything about the Week of the Young Child?
We do have several events coming up the week of April 5th. April 5th at Lincoln Park will be the big kickoff. April is also Child Abuse Prevention Month, Awareness Month. So we invite you all to come to that event at the park from 11 to 1. That's through Children's Advocacy Center. They're sponsoring that event.
Thank you.
And we have a Facebook event page on Southeast Kansas Microsoft if you want more information. Great, thank you.
Thanks for being here. All right. Pittsburgh Positive will have one on 4/22 to recognize Earth Day with a local organization, but none tonight. All right, I'd like to open it up for public input. If anyone would like to come forward for public input, please state your name, your address, and limit your comments to 3 minutes or less. All right, seeing none, we'll move forward. Consent agenda, we will be removing item C from the consent agenda. Are there any others? I didn't ask you guys.
No.
Okay.
I'd move to approve the consent agenda with the exception of item C being pulled off.
Second?
Moved by Stu, seconded by Doc. Roll call vote.
Brooks?
Yes.
Height?
Yes.
McNay?
Yes.
Munsell?
Yes.
Sigley?
Yes.
Item C, approval of the Economic Development Advisory Committee recommendation to forgive the Pittsburgh State University Foundation's 2023 and 2024 loan payments for the build-out of Block 22 restaurant/retail space as the requirements for forgiveness in the final 2 years of the loan have been satisfied. Hello, Blake.
Good evening, Madam Mayor.
Okay, Blake, I really don't have any questions about this loan, but I do have some comments.
Okay.
On March 13th, 2018, the Pittsburgh City Commission approved a request from Pitt State University Foundation to provide a forgivable loan in the amount of $300,000 to support the build-out of Block 22 restaurant retail space. That passed on a 4-to-1 vote. I voted against that. And I'll explain that as we go through this. Okay. This loan was used for permanent fixed project improvements, including but not limited to flooring, electrical, fire suppression, plumbing, HVAC, and/or windows. I'm sure others that apply for EDAC loans that are in the restaurant retail business would be happy with this deal. You know, I spoke to Sean Nacarado once this loan went through that I voted against, because it seemed like it was taking a while for these retail restaurants to get going. And having talked to Sean, he told me they were still coming, but he had negotiated with one of the occupants of this space for a year's lease, non-payment for a year on a lease. You know, the reason I voted against this loan, I think it was unfair to others in the restaurant retail business, had been in business for a long time. And they paid property tax and sales tax, and it was like, you know, how have we helped them? Anyway, getting back to that loan, you know, that was $300,000 of taxpayers' money. I don't feel Sean should be in a position to negotiate with anyone whether they were not going to pay a lease for a year. That was our taxpayers' money. A matter of fact, that piece of property, one of the properties there, has went through 4 different owners in the time that we approved this loan. The second group that owned this property was Sean Nacarado, was part of a group. In my opinion, this would appear to be a conflict of interest, with Sean negotiating for the loan, negotiating for a business not to pay a lease for a year, and then him being owners of this one restaurant for a short period of time. You know, like I said, I think this was wrong, that Sean did this, and I voted not to approve this because the unfair to the other businesses that were paying property tax, sales tax, and, you know, also paying lease or rent on the property they own. So, you know, like I said, the $300,000 wasn't his money to negotiate any kind of lease agreement. If it was his money, no problem, he could do that, but this was taxpayers' money. And once again, I say, you know, I feel like it was unfair and he was out of line to do this. So that's all I got to say on this. I'll be voting in opposition to this when it comes to us after I get done talking. But I just wanted people to know out there how I vote on things. But I do have a request of you, Blake.
Certainly.
We have several EDAC loans that we're going to look at tonight, and I think they're all worthy of our decisions. I would request that the commission receive an email of the agenda when these EDAC committee meets, and what the decision or recommendation coming to us to approve. And the reason I ask that, and I've talked to Darren about this before, you know, as a commissioner, I get questions when something's in the paper that these loans had been made a recommendation to us, and if I don't get the paper, I don't know what they're talking about half the time. So I would appreciate you or whoever emailing all the commission on the loans, whatever recommendations they have, before I read it in the paper. Is that something possibly you could do?
If it, I mean, the agenda item that I submit to the city manager and the city clerk has that information. If there are no issues, then I can
Are there
send it.
minutes of the meetings?
Yes, ma'am.
Maybe that's a better, just send us the minutes because of the agenda.
Yeah.
That'd be fine, as long as, like I said, I don't like being on the commission. The people voted me, put me here, and find out through the paper they know something before I do.
Okay, I understand.
All right, thank you.
I'm gonna ask Darren this question. Could a city commissioner be considered an ex officio member of any of these committees that meet?
Yeah.
So we could go to that meeting.
Well, you don't even have to be an ex officio.
I mean,
You
yeah,
can
I
go
mean-
anytime.
No, I'm just saying, but with no voting, obviously no voting.
Sure.
But I just wanna put it in the record.
When I got here, the EDAC had at least 2 commissioners. Actually, I can remember one meeting, they had even more than that, which was a quorum. And I definitely think there's a lot of sensitive information. People are in there talking about financials and stuff. So I think the paper really had never come until somebody that had a request a year ago invited the paper because they wanted, I think they thought they were going to have a problem with their request. So the paper started showing up, and now he's there at every meeting. So, yeah, Chuck's brought it up before. The meetings are open to the public. I personally think, we have advisory boards to do our work. I'd hate to see the commissioners showing up, but they do show up at Planning Commission and some other boards. They're welcome to any board, as anybody is. But to Blake's point, we can't do anything about the newspaper, and I explained that to Commissioner Munsell. I'm like, the guy's gonna write an article on it the next day. If you don't get the paper, then, yeah, if you want us to send you the minutes, we can do that, or we can, however you want to handle it, but it's,
I didn't
it's a
realize
public
that they were
process.
Open to
And
the public, so I wouldn't have asked that. but-
yeah, they're all, it just, I don't know.
So no commissioners have ever been to board meetings regardless of whether it's planning and zoning, which I have because I was interested in what was happening, but you have, what is it you're saying? That other than the sensitive information that they deal with?
I'm
Or is-
saying I have had, since I've been here, we've created at least 5 new boards. And the one thing that I hear repeatedly from people, we try to get people to serve on the boards. And the only criticism I usually hear is from board members saying, I don't like sitting on a board that I'm advising you on and the commissioner's watching us work. And I'm like, the commission is a citizen like anybody else. If they want to come watch you work, I don't have any power over them to say, you're not invited. But I can see the awkwardness, but whether you guys want to do it or not, I've never passed it on to you because I don't really.
I don't plan on attending a meeting,
Yeah.
but I would like Don said, a copy of the minutes and whatever recommendations they have to send to us.
Yeah, the minutes are all
Before I read it.
public and posted as soon as Blake pulls them together,
Yeah.
and that's not a problem.
The stuff that he's talking about, this is the first I'm hearing about some of this stuff about what Pittsburgh State. So when did it was approved in 18? So that was more than, you were probably the only commissioner at the time. Don, were you?
No? Yeah, I guess I was.
Okay, so,
But I didn't,
and when did it actually go into effect? After a certain amount of money was billed out? Or if it's 60,000 a year, so what are you talking about, 5 years then?
It was originally approved in 2018, and so the schedule for forgiveness was to have begun at that time. The city commission came back because the project did fall behind as far as timelines. So the city commission came back on November 26th, 2019, and adjusted that timeline to basically bump it back a year. That would essentially have it go from 20 to 2024, those 5 years.
so this concludes.
This will, yes ma'am, this will close it out.
Any other questions for Blake? Is there a motion to approve? Hello?
I'd like to know a little more about it personally.
Yeah, I think it'd be fair. It's on consent because it's something we've approved in the years past, but we didn't really read the agenda item, and now we're taking questions, and Chuck had his statement. So I'll give you the brief history that I recall. The larger project was Block 22. It was an 15 to $18 million project. They came in and asked for 10%, so we came up with $1.5 million. At that point, the area that's in question, which is the restaurant for the most part, was a drugstore. And the gentleman that had owned that drugstore for a very long time had initially said that he was going to continue to operate it as the project was built out, as all the buildings were redeveloped. Once the financing, the city incentive was approved and everything was moving forward, things changed for him, and he decided, for a variety of reasons, that he was no longer going to operate it. So that space all of a sudden was vacant. So they came back, the university, and said, now we've got this space here. We don't want to develop it into a restaurant, but we need to put in a new floor, we need to put in all the white box, the things that happen with several of the projects that you're going to see today. The amount to do that was $300,000. That wasn't for restaurant equipment, that wasn't for anything to do with the restaurant, it was just really to turn a very old space into something that was usable. So, and there was a lot of discussion back then, I'm sure Chuck was on, because he's been on as long as I've been here. The commission approved it, it sounds like Chuck voted against it, I don't remember that, but that kicked off the process of a 5-year forgiveness if they could get a tenant and operate the space. But because of what Blake explained, it was delayed, so the 5 years didn't start until 2020. And this would be the last 2 years of that 5-year agreement of abating it if somebody was occupying it and it was actually a business.
And yes, and it's also important to point out that it's not just the space that's now occupied by Brick and Mortar, it's also where Toast is, where Pippi May's, Brick and Mortar, and BAM. So it's actually 4 spaces.
And forgiveness for year 2021-22 have already come before this commission and passed.
Correct. So this would just be the final 2 years.
The agreement was if we would forgive it if they operated businesses in there, and they're all fully.
Yeah, sales tax generating businesses.
When did the conflict come into, when did the conflict start?
Which conflict?
As far as, he's saying that he was an owner of the brick and mortar?
Well, that's my understanding.
Or-
John was part of a group that bought it after the original owner sold, I guess.
We have never been privy to the negotiations between Pittsburgh State, the owner of the property, and their tenants.
Yeah, I don't think that's, our agreements with Pitt State, they lease that space to somebody to operate, just like they do Toast and Pippi May's, so.
But who owns it?
The foundation.
Pitt State does.
Pitt State?
Pitt State owns it?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
The operator is something completely different. I think that's what Commissioner Munsell is referring to.
Right, do we need to table this? Are there any more questions? Does anyone feel the need to make a motion to approve?
I will make a motion to approve.
I'll second it because this predates my time on the commission and my time at Pittsburgh State. So this was an agreement that was entered into in 2018, so I have no trouble seconding it.
Okay. Moved by Doc, seconded by Stu. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Motion carries
Thank you.
3-2.
Good job, Blake.
Thank you, Blake. All right, special presentation. Downtown Advisory Board Annual Report. Members of the Downtown Advisory Board will present their annual report. Welcome, Kim.
Madam Mayor, Commissioners, good evening. I would love to introduce our Chair, Stephanie Watts, and our Co-Chair, Tree Mulkin. It's actually opposite. I'm sorry.
Oh.
Chair, Tree Mulkin, Co-Chair, Stephanie Watts, both who equally contribute time to the Downtown Advisory Board and along with all of our other board members, which they will cover in the presentation. And then also would like to thank Sarah Runyon, our Community Development Specialist, for her work with the Downtown Advisory Board, supporting the City Board and also with the presentation. So I will let our ladies take over. Thank you.
As Kim said, my name's Tree Mulkin. I'm the chair of the board and an at-large member.
And I'm Stephanie Watts. I own the White Elephant Emporium. I'm also an at-large member.
Yeah, so our board is comprised of 7 individuals. As you can see on the screen, there's 3 at-large, I guess, a property owner, hospitality, downtown resident, and retail. Some of those people overlap in what they do downtown, but that is how they're approved and voted onto the board. So what are our responsibilities?
Well, I mean, we meet every month. We basically represent downtown. We work through every issue. We talk about how do we beautify our downtown? How do we bring more people to our downtown? We, like I said, we interact with our downtown, and we hopefully will continue to grow our downtown by our, our voices and what we see and some of our expertise, so.
So one thing we'd like to cover is where actually the downtown is. Going north, it's to 14th Street, east is to Elm Street, south is to Euclid, and west is to Pine Street. So our focus isn't just like the primary main blocks of Broadway. We're looking the whole scope of the downtown overlay.
So let's go back a little bit of what we've accomplished this year in 2024. Some of you may have noticed a few more benches have been put out. I mean, we strategically look for those streets that are requiring it, needing it, those places that you might have more people, for those businesses, like I'm next to like the ballet. I mean, we look for businesses that have more people standing outside. We also got a $8,800 Live Well Crawford County grant for some bike racks. Those all got put in, and we literally spent many hours trying to discuss where the best place to put those bike racks in. So nothing's really taken for granted. We walk through everything. We spend our money very, very wisely. We discuss it immensely. So we also have new packed bus signs, hopefully going in soon. We learned from a lot of people that that was an issue, some of our signage. We hope we continue with more signage as our downtown continues to grow.
So one of the things we continued last year was our 620 Day, which is in honor of our zip code, held on June 20th. It's a block party sidewalk sale just meant to get people out and about in Pittsburgh, celebrate our community. Last year, we drew about 1,500 to 2,000 people. We're really excited for 2025 620 Day because it's on a Saturday. So we're hoping to draw an even bigger crowd with it being a weekend day. And I believe it's also a Pitt State home game.
Yeah.
So we're really excited about that.
Yeah, and more money keeps
Oh,
getting
no.
added to this.
Wrong event. I'm thinking
Oh,
of a
you're-
whole nother event. I'm thinking of an art walk.
That's
Another whole nother thing. 620. I'm like, oh, this is June.
But after each one of these events, we, break it down, discuss it, what can be done better. Next year, I know, Sarah, we're looking at getting more children's, like, bounce houses. What can we do to get more, maybe shade, if we know if it's gonna be a hot day? Do we need more food trucks? I mean, it's well broken down, and, I don't know if any of you guys come to it, but it is growing every year, because it's being done right, and it's being well thought out. Okay, another huge success story has been our Small Business Saturday. And as a business owner, I am thrilled to be able to take back to this board, how it affects my business. And it was one of my best days of the year was that Small Business Saturday. I had a ton of people come in. This last one, we were able to get more college kids to come in, which is always kind of tough. So, we have the big event that goes on. For the arts and crafts event, we always have great giveaways to help people shop local, and then we try and entice all the local businesses to join in and do, giveaways. We take it on our Facebook page. We get KOAM, and so it's really an all hands-on event, and it's successful. We get a lot of people coming in from all over because our town's the perfect size to shop in. It's a great day trip. It's quaint. And we're getting more and more businesses that are participating every year.
Yeah, and one thing I want to point out about this that we did differently than in the past is on the passport cards we often do at a lot of events in Pittsburgh. We made it so to be entered in the drawing, you had to make 5 purchases at 5 different businesses that were participating. So not just go in, have them sign, you had to go in and make a purchase to get a stamp on your passport. So we were really trying to entice people to spend money in Pittsburgh.
And remind us when Small Business Saturday is.
It is the, first
Saturday
Saturday
after
after
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't know if we can see that. Thank you.
So one big event that Stephanie and I are very passionate about is the tree lighting ceremony. We both have Hallmark Town dreams for Christmas, and I think we're really starting to make progress. This event started in 2023, and it's completely private funded for the last, I guess all total, probably all 3 years. We grew the tree 20 feet last year. We had between 800 and 1,000 people show up. We had characters, we had spiked cider, we had carolers and singers and all kind of really fun stuff. Lots of local businesses involved, so it's really growing and we're hoping to make it even more fun this year.
Yeah, I mean, we keep getting Pitt State to come in. We had their Christmas, we had their
Jazz
choir, we had a
band.
jazz band, we had Tuck and Toast served a hot spice cider. I mean, Tree and I walked Mickey and Minnie around, and we made so many little kids in this town may not ever get to go to Disney, but that night, you know, you would have thought that they were in Disney. So we've like I said, we dissected this after the fact. I mean, next year, maybe we can get some fake snow, a little snow blower going. I mean, we are,
Coming from the
you know,
sky?
sky's the limit, especially if we keep getting people that are willing to donate. You know, we're willing to try it and make it and do it right, so. Okay, our new events. Some of you guys saw the Halloween painting that took place downtown. Super successful. I had some crazy girls painting my windows that I had to power wash off, so we're reworking that a little bit to maybe hire out through the Downtown Advisory to hire out to clean the windows, just to entice more people. But it was super successful, tons of happy kids. It was something I did growing up. I know Katie Sweeney and I, we really, really wanted to bring back a tradition that we loved growing up. So that was, for a first year, that event was super successful. The holiday window display contest, again, I mean, that was, I don't know, Sarah, how many people actually clicked on the votes for that? A lot. It was huge.
Hundreds. I know that.
Yeah, it was probably over 1,000.
Yeah, so, I mean, it really got a lot of attention, which was great, which is what we want to do. Anything we can do to draw attention back to our downtown, that's awesome. So, and you just informed me you're going to be on a commercial for.
Yes, so our winners are using so what happened was the business, it was free to enter. The business decorated their storefront any way they wanted in Christmas spirit, and the community voted on the first, second, and third place winners. The first place winners are planning to shoot a commercial pretty soon to put on the news, and so I'm really excited to see that go in, and I really think it made a difference in downtown for Christmas.
Yeah. Because the winner got like a $3,000 advertising package. I mean, these were nice gifts, and we really worked hard to entice. Because I think we all know more businesses need to put a little bit more effort to the front window, especially at Christmas. And we're going to do everything we can to help them in that way.
And we wanted it to be a prize that small businesses in our town could use to generate more revenue. As both small businesses, we understand like advertising dollars are so important, but they're also really hard to come by. And so we kind of got to knock two things out, having some more joy downtown and helping small businesses with advertising dollars. And then our next event
is we're starting a Downtown Connect. We feel it's super important to try to bring our downtown folks, our owners, our renters, people that own businesses, bring them together. We need to hear their opinion, because there's a lot of folks that we just need to get them on board. We need everybody to work together on this, and we're going to try to approach them, you know, because we've got some folks that are, you know, a little crotchety downtown, and we're going to work our charm to see if we can't bring them in. It's
Get 'em
all
on board.
working together. We're all trying to expand our downtown, so we're going to try like a fun, I think we're going to do it at the Pit, right? And just have a little mixer, you know, just have some fun that night.
So do you feel we have less out of town landlords or owners? I mean, is that kind of changing a little, or do we know?
That's a really good
I don't know off the top of my
Okay.
head, but just as a frequenter of the downtown businesses, I feel like it seems to be a lot of people I know who owns it, so.
Yeah, I can't.
But I don't,
I would hope not. I hope that changes. I think personally, I feel like there's just a lot of folks of a different generation like my dad that, you know, maybe they own like a half a dozen buildings and they tend to just sit on them or, you know, not put a whole lot of money into it. So hopefully if we get to know these people, we can.
help
we can do
encourage
anything
them.
we can to help. I mean,
Yep.
we're here to help their business succeed or their building. Okay, this was a huge thing that the downtown board worked on for, gosh, almost a whole year. This was the Olson Design Studio helped us come up with a variety of ways to help our downtown expand, to, rehabilitate buildings, make it safer when we got, Pitt State coming downtown. Walkability, how the parking, of course, people like to think there's an issue. I think we were told it's not really a huge issue yet, so, but we just need to make the parking that we have a little bit better, so that, we looked into all this stuff, and they really worked this plan with us. We went to many little conferences to work through all these and come up with some ideas.
So some of our goals based off what they suggested to us are lighting and safety. So right now we're working on doing a downtown lighting review. We're working in conjunction with Pittsburgh Police Department to find areas that need to be better lit. I guess there's a study out there that says the more lit up it is, less likely it is to have crime. So if we just make it lighter, it seems safer. So we're really working on that.
Yeah, our alleys, we all know, could use serious charm. I mean, it is like bottom basement issues right now that how do we work on our alleys? And it is maybe not quite a priority as to dealing with our front curb appeal. But you start small, you start with stringing some lights back there, just lighting it up, and then maybe some owners will see value in that type of real estate. Because we all travel places and see that there's great potential in alleyways.
I know I've talked to several business owners that, like you said, the safety is the issue.
Yeah.
Because they park behind the buildings, their employees park behind the buildings, and they've taken it upon themselves that when the time changes and it gets darker early,
Yeah,
they
absolutely.
actually have to walk with their female employees
Yeah.
to their cars,
Yeah.
so anything we can do to light that up is,
Yeah, the Colonial Fox lit that one lot up, and I think looking into lighting our parking lots makes a lot of sense. Beautifying our parking lots, they're gonna get used here in the next 2, 3, 4 years. I think they've been hidden away. I don't think anybody's really looked at them for a while. I think there's a lot of issues to start working on making them. I don't think it's gonna cost a ton of money. I just think it's, just start looking at it, lighting them up, putting maybe a little bit of floral in there, a little bit of color, stuff like that.
Yeah. And one of the other main things we're looking at lighting wise is, I don't know if you've ever noticed, but the lights down Broadway are extremely high in the air. So there are lights, but they don't hardly make it to us when we're walking on the street. So we are currently working with a company out of Parsons called Rival Time Products, and they have made a banner holder that has a light that can shine down, and we're working with them to identify an area to do a tester pole eventually, just to get some lower level lighting. It's really hard to make a business owner put lights on their building, but something we can do is put lights on the poles that we already function. So
I don't know if any of you guys have been to Parsons. Our downtown's amazing compared to Parsons. We have so much more going for us than Parsons. But the one thing they have fantastic banners, and they are amazing, especially out by their high school and downtown. And I'm stuck there for track meets and volleyball, games. And I didn't realize that this company was based in Parsons. Super unique. Haven't seen it anyplace else. They're going to have a patent on this. But I would love our city to light these beautiful banners that you spend a lot of money on. It lights them up. It looks incredible with banners lit up. And they'll light them up from the top, light them up from the bottom. I think it would be beautiful downtown.
Yep. And one thing we're also looking at eventually is when we get some trees put back downtown, adding some lights on those, which is another super easy way and inexpensive way to light up downtown.
Or maybe some music.
Yes. So one thing I'm very passionate about is, I don't know if you've been to Fort Scott's downtown, but they have overhead music. And it's
So does
nothing
Galena.
crazy, but it's just so it feels like it flows when you're going from one shop to the next, or from your car to the restaurant. Like, it just makes it, the vibes are better.
It's inviting.
It's
to stay
inviting.
And walk. And we're trying to make this a place people want to spend a couple hours. Eat, play, drink, the whole thing.
Right, all of it. and vibe might not be very important to you guys, but for my generation, vibes are everything. So music, lighting, entertainment is very important. So I'm looking at how do we get more Pitt State graduates to want to stay in Pittsburgh?
Tree, are you saying we're old?
I mean, Stu, are you saying you're old?
Yes.
Stu has vibe. What are you talking about?
Stu has tons of
You
vibes.
got lots of vibe.
So we're working on launching a website with more parking information. As we have talked about a ton, people think parking is a problem downtown, and there are some issues, but there are plenty of spaces. Most of the problem is we need signage that says when and where and who can park in these places. So we're working on that. We're working on signage. We're working on parking reinforcement so that residents aren't parking in the wrong places. There's a lot to that, and we're working with Pittsburgh State and the police department to make sure the right people are doing the right thing, but it isn't something we're addressing.
I'm glad you mentioned the music because I'm not in your generation, but when I was a kid, especially around Christmas time, they played Christmas music and as people shopped. And another thing, and I don't know if you do that anymore, they used to have, Thursday nights,
The open late.
businesses would
Yeah.
stay open
Yeah.
longer for people to, I don't know if you.
We've talked about it. We've loved, it's gonna take a lot of, convincing of folks downtown because Pittsburgh has kind of lost its evening, we just don't pull a lot of evening crowds in. And I think the more restaurants we get, we start having more, Colonial Fox maybe get up and running and have the cinema going. We gotta find a way. We can put all this stuff in, but if we gotta change people's idea that they gotta get out of their house at 6 or 7 o'clock at night and quit streaming Netflix. Get out, we gotta offer them something to do to get out, so.
Well, I know they go to Walmart at 6 or 7 o'clock at night, so,
Yeah.
how we get them downtown.
Right,
Yeah, exactly.
Spending money in our local businesses and not just our big box
Yeah.
stores.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this, some of you have probably driven by Fort Scott and saw that they got this fun little signage here. And so we're looking possibly into doing something like this. We've got to find ways to, extend our streetscape. We want to extend it down to south to Euclid, so our downtown's even a little bit longer. Bring in the same type of beautiful planters. And again, the Welcome Arch, I think, would be a fun way to welcome people, that let them know that they've entered downtown Pittsburgh, so to speak. So, and this, we would definitely make this a lot more beautiful we would definitely up the ante. We would beat Fort Scott on their design.
This is okay, but we could make it look a lot
We could do
better.
a lot better than that.
I would like to point out that this is a Kansas-based company that made that, and I would also like to look at a couple of Pittsburgh-based companies to do something similar. They used a grant to fund it, so we would also probably look at doing the same thing, but I think that would be a great ad for our sesquicentennial next year.
I think that's our goal.
that?
No, I can't hardly say it.
But that's kind of our goal for a lot of these things, is to have them up and running by that big date.
Yeah, next
That's
year.
our goal. Yeah. We all know downtown is on a roll right now, and we just really want to take advantage of the feeling that great things are happening.
Yeah.
And I'm, as a business owner, I feel it. I'm down there. I've got people coming in. It's like, your downtown's really looking really good. We're getting some great things going on.
So I really like this slide because it's showing that downtown is getting life again. So 9 new businesses recently opened, 8 relocated or expanded, and 12 redevelopment projects are going on currently. So things are happening downtown, and that's not probably including anything Pitt State has going on.
No.
Maybe it does, but
I mean, we all grew up, I was a mall girl. We hung out at the mall, that's where the action was, but now I know downtowns are cool again, and it's cool to live downtown. So we're mixing the vibe of people wanting to live in what we would call in Pittsburgh's urban feel. But we offer a downtown that so many cities have to mimic with a fake one. Our downtown's so authentic and real.
All right, anything else?
Oh, yeah.
We're almost
Two more slides. Sorry, two more slides.
Keep it going,
All right,
girls.
so this is just our call to please consider keep investing in downtown Pittsburgh. There's still 30 empty storefronts or buildings, 8 that are dilapidated or endangered of getting torn down, and 3 empty and undeveloped lots. We know you guys have a lot of power in what goes on in our town, and we just encourage you guys to keep investing in downtown because it's working. And if anyone's interested in getting involved in our group, we meet the 3rd Monday of every month, rotating to different downtown businesses from 11:30 to 1.
Yep, and if you have suggestions, you travel someplace and you see something, let us know. I mean, we're a very open-minded group, and we're a group of doers. We like to get it done, and we like to see action, so. But thank you, guys.
Thank you. Any
Appreciate it.
questions? No? All right, thank you
Okay.
so much.
Thank you.
guys. Keep up the good work. All right, moving on. Consider the following legacy restoration redevelopment project. Consider the recommendation of the Economic Development Advisory Committee to reimburse legacy restoration an amount equal to 10% of the total project value of the renovation of the property located at 506 North Pine, with the city's portion not to exceed $40,000.
Good evening, Madam Mayor. We'll just keep the redevelopment going. Pleased to bring you tonight 3 redevelopment projects. 2 of them will be in the downtown corridor, and 1 will be adjacent to downtown. So we're already skewing the numbers that you just saw and already increasing the numbers of the investment that is occurring in our downtown area. The first one, as you mentioned, Madam Mayor, is being sponsored by Legacy Restoration. This is being done at 506 North Pine. The value of the improvements is approximately $400,000. This project, along with the other 2 that you'll hear about, did come before the EDAC a couple of weeks ago. They considered it and recommended for your approval. So on this particular project, based on a $400,000 investment, the EDAC recommended a 10% reimbursement at the end of the project, with the city's investment not to exceed $40,000. And Quentin Holmes is here tonight, representing Legacy Restoration. I'm going to get this queued up for Quentin and ask him to just share some of the specifics about the project. There you go. Thanks, Quentin.
Thanks, Blake. Mayor, Commissioners, good evening.
Good evening.
Okay. As you all know, I think you all know me, we've done some previous projects in Pittsburgh with a company called DVLP. One of our partners and myself have branched off in addition to DVLP with a company called Legacy Restoration. We partnered up with Bill Wachter on this building. And really this project came about due to, if you're all familiar with the Robertson office complex that we have at 113 North Broadway. We've had several inquiries for that space, and really Bart and I discussing how are we going to fill these needs. These are all out-of-town businesses looking for space, wanting to move to Pittsburgh. So just through a relationship we have with Bill, kind of got to talking with him, knowing that he is a sole attorney in that large building that he has, and we developed a plan. So here we are. The project, as Blake stated, 506 North Pine. The projected investment of renovation is $400,000. That does not include acquisition, but we're only here for the actual meat and potatoes of the investment. That will include a new sewer line. The sewer line there, when it was scoped by the plumber, I believe he said as far as linear foot was the worst he's ever seen downtown. So that all had to be replaced. There was no way to open it up and kind of renew it. So that was kind of off the rip, a little bit of a shock, because we did have to cut the concrete floor out to do that. We are finishing that up as we speak. But new HVAC throughout, new windows, new lighting, new flooring. The building's 8,000 square feet total. New ADA entrance and access through a partnership with the city sidewalk program to create a concrete ramp, just extend the sidewalk to make that an ADA entrance there. ADA restroom facilities. replace the ceiling in the first and second floor as well as add insulation, and then also provide secure access. The first 30 to 45 days are what we're calling the demo phase. We saw cut the concrete on the first floor, as I'd mentioned, removing the drop ceiling that's there, water damage, and just, it's old, 1960, and hasn't been touched since. Remove existing flooring where needed, demo the current restroom facilities. One of our tenants, one of our prospective tenants, we're in final negotiations at the moment, does require ADA access to their facility. So it only made sense to upgrade everything to ADA access on first and second floor. Remove the current HVAC unit. It was failing as we speak. Tear out the concrete entrance, replace with ADA sidewalk ramp, which is complete. The sidewalk ramp is complete. Cut new openings in walls for added access to new spaces, creating more offices for our tenants. We will start in April to start framing in new office partitions, the restrooms, basically the finishes. Everything, if you can imagine a complete gut and renovation, we are back to the renovation stage. Here is a layout of what we're doing with the building, obviously moving some partitions. Like I had said, the second floor, we do have a long-term tenant secured that is an engineering firm specializing in the utility industry that will be moving to Pittsburgh. They will be bringing 3 employees to start and expect to have 8 within the next 2 to 3 years. And then the first floor is a group that I won't disclose at the moment because we do not have the final lease secured. They have already moved an individual from out of town here, and they are hiring 2 people to start, and they will move to 12. They have a plan to move to 12 individuals in the next 3 years. And that is also a long-term lease that we will be signing there. Partners in our project, Labette Bank has done our financing. We've hired a couple interior design students from Pittsburgh State as well as construction students to help with some of the demo and construction work. Obviously partnering with the city of Pittsburgh. We've worked very well with the city of Pittsburgh. The building services team has been great. The community development office has been great. Home Center Construction, Hicus Masonry, Harris Heating and Air, Nutter Electric, Arnett Glass, Pittsburgh Interiors, and Dig Excavation. The request is 10% of the total investment, not to exceed $400,000 as was stated before. The demo phase, February to March, we got a little bit of a delay. I think we're about a week behind. And then the construction phase will start in March, end in May, and we've signed leases for June 1 move-in, so we better have it done. So, any questions?
Tell me again the amount of employees that's gonna be in this project?
To start on the second floor, the engineering group, they're occupying the entire second floor. And then another group is occupying the first floor. The second floor will start with 3 employees here. The first floor will start with 3. The second floor is looking to grow to 8. And the first floor, I believe, 12.
So
12 or 13.
I'm trying to think, there's a public parking lot close to that location, so they'll
They'll use
won't
the
have an
public
issue
parking
with
space.
parking.
No.
Yeah.
No, there's parking on the north and south end of that block, actually, public parking, so.
Is your other building full, the Robinson?
It is, yeah.
And,
Yeah, it's been full.
Smithsonian, are they full?
Smithsonian's full, yeah. All of our projects are currently full that are complete. We do have a prospective tenant for 117 North Broadway that we are finalizing, hopefully a plan with, that we can start renovation of that space as well. And thank the city for all the help on that. I know, obviously, without your all support, the city's support, we couldn't have done any of it, so.
Any
Move
other
to-
questions?
Move to approve.
A second.
Moved by Stu, seconded by Chuck. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, Quentin.
Thank you.
Moving on to item B, Barkay Ranch and Company LLC redevelopment project. Consider the recommendation of the Economic Development Advisory Committee to reimburse Barkay Ranch and Company LLC an amount equal to 10% of the total project value for the renovation of the property located at 3011 South Broadway, with the city's portion not to exceed $47,000.
All right, thank you, Madam Mayor. As you just mentioned, this next project is being sponsored by Barkay Ranch and Company. The space is 311 South Broadway, so just outside of the downtown area, but obviously adjacent to it. This project is valued at $474,000, so the EDAC recommendation is for 10% of that on the back end of the project. And representing Barkay Ranch is Wes Keller, and I'm going to ask Wes to come up and give us the details on that.
Okay.
You can just click the right arrow.
Thanks, Willie. Evening, everybody. Appreciate your time here. So I'll jump through a few details, a few pictures here, and I'm just going to cover kind of the scope of the project as I go through each picture. So this will be the west side along Broadway here. What the building currently looks like, as all of you guys probably know, but as far as what you're going to see here, the scope of this, the front would be replace the awning, the new, more modern, flat black awning. Also, place all the windows and doors, the more commercial style black doors like you guys see in a lot of the updated buildings downtown. And then also, we'd repaint the front as well. I've got some post demo or post work renderings as well. Here's the back side and the alley. You can see it's a little bit rougher in the back. Back here, we'd expect to do the same thing, repaint as far as that goes, and then the vents, everything, the signage would be replaced, updated, and then put a new overhead door. There's an overhead door behind that they closed off years ago. And then we're going to regrade and shape the lot and everything, make sure the water and runoff and everything's appropriate in the back. They've had some issues with people back there. We planned on putting, rearranging the HVAC and putting a fence and stuff just to make sure nothing's tampered with as well. South wall, this is a kind of a bigger part of this project. So this was a party wall years ago, and that building was where Brian Renz was. If you guys remember that, they demolished it. I'm not sure, it's been a long time. So this wall, you can see, is pretty rough. A lot of issues here. Our plan right now, we're going to use Mid-Continental to do a restoration of this entire wall. So this will be pretty big. I don't have pictures of the roof on here, but the roof's approximately 25 years old, so a big part of that project will be a new roof too, which we intended to work with Montez here locally as far as a TPO roof. Here's a few more pictures of this wall on each end. Just see, it's pretty rough. So here's what we're shooting for as far as the post remodel. You can see updated awning, doors, windows, paint, some new spots for signage. There'd be lighting included in that awning as well. So anticipate to light the sidewalk at night and have some lights as far as pointing up on the signage as well. Here's updated the back as far as overhead door, privacy fence, windows and stuff replaced, and vent and signs. As far as the layout of the building, there's 3 different units, about 4,600 square feet total. Commercial offices, in the back of it's warehouse storage. Each Unit A and B is the front there that has access off Broadway. Both those are 1,500 to 1,600 square feet. Kitchen, full bath, conference room. They're pretty nice spaces. Both of those are rented right now. The one unit is our tenant's basically flexible, so we're going to advertise that unit with the warehouse space for rent now and see what we can get. And here's Unit C as far as the back. Like I say, it's got the overhead door access from the back in the alley. A lot of different uses. This is probably what kind of attracted us to this building as far as just the, a little bit more versatile as far as the office with the big space. This is climate controlled, has a bathroom back there as well. So we just had a few different pictures they put together for us as far as different uses. So anyway, that is our project. I appreciate the time. Any questions?
Yeah, I read in here that the roof was damaged, a wrecking ball from, was the roof repaired after it was damaged, or?
It was, yeah. When they demolished that building, somehow that wrecking ball apparently ended up in that building, and they replaced all the framing
Was
trusses.
Back, I mean, you got tenants up front, right?
Yes.
So it wasn't in the area that, or was it? I don't know.
I don't know. Nobody ever told me exactly where that happened. But if you look up in there, I mean, you can see, I think most of the roof, they ended up replacing most of the framing of the entire roof at that time, from what I was told.
So you're talking now about a new roof, framing and everything?
No, not enough framing, just the new TPO, just the, surface itself, so. And like I say, it's 30 years old, the existing, so, and it's leaking, and we've got some problems in the back, so we've got to address that. Yep.
Move to approve.
A second.
Moved by Stu, seconded by Chuck. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, Wes.
Thank you all, appreciate it.
All right, moving on to item C, Chucky Hassan and Bill Cronky redevelopment project. Consider the recommendation of the Economic Development Advisory Committee to reimburse Chucky Hassan and Bill Cronky an amount equal to 10% of the total project value for the renovation of the property located at 106 East 9th, with the city's portion not to exceed $40,000.
All right. Thank you, Madam Mayor. And last but certainly not least, our next project is in the downtown area. It is at 106 East 9th Street. I think most of our residents will recognize the location. As you mentioned, Chucky Hessong and Bill Cronky are proposing a significant renovation of that. That is valued at $400,000, so the EDAC recommendation is for 10% up to $40,000. And Chucky is here tonight to tell us more.
Thanks, Blake. Good evening. Many of you may recognize this is the back side of Salon 9. It is a separate parcel. You can see that currently it's lacking curb appeal, among other things, mostly use. This is the alley side of it. Stephanie Entry mentioned the opportunities that are in the alley, and the opportunity for, we see great opportunity in this alley actually. Our intention is to consolidate those roll-up doors into one glass roll-up door. The one on the closest to y'all on this screen where the two windows are, that will also have a door there as well. That's where an apartment will be, a studio apartment. The two roll-up doors that you see there will serve as what we're calling a micro events facility for small meetings, small gatherings. But that was obviously, I think it was a tire shop. Maybe some of you guys remember that, have been here a while. So there's lots of what we are going to call patio space, would have been car parking kind of space there on the alley side that we want to try to utilize for creating a bit of a patio environment with some lights, as the downtown team was talking about, lots of lights to make it feel inviting and that kind of stuff on that side. One of the other teams mentioned their dig out for their drain. That we share a drain with Salon 9, and you can imagine that lots goes down that drain. When we had it cameraed, they said that it was paper thin, so we thought it might be a good time to go ahead and have the fun of digging that out. You can't tell how deep that is, but I can tell you that if you're 6 foot tall, your forehead still would not have been seen if you were standing inside that hole. So that was a little bit of a project for us, but we're past that point already. We do need a new roof as well, like most downtown buildings, evidently. We need new HVAC. We want to resurface and create a more attractive patio. The electrical needs to be revamped in order to fit the use of the building and intended use of the building. Plumbing needs to be also fit the intended use, the interior construction, the windows, and it also needs a purpose. It has been setting empty for quite some time. It was a gym, if you guys remember Mac Fitness, that was probably the last thing that was in there at some point, which is what that huge mural, that green and black is there. There you go. You can see then that we at this point we have already resurfaced the floor, and you can see what we're dealing with on the inside. It's very industrial, to say the least, but you can see that we're starting to get the purpose of that made in there. with the rough ends. The site plan kind of gives you a better idea of what that parking looks like, which I know is always a concern for you guys, but we also have intentions, as an observation, often people create businesses here to have something to do. That's always the thing when I ask my social media following, what would you guys want to have downtown? What are we missing? What something to do was constantly brought up. And when I mentioned, of course, food is always assumed, but they also mentioned restaurants. But what something to do was brought up. And I think our intention with this space, with the micro event space, in which there's 3 things happening here, but the micro event space is to create something to do, but a traveling something to do. So that it's not something that's always the same. Pop-ups, food trucks, Christmas tree farm, the lots of ideas that we have coming through our minds of ways to create activity and business downtown, and collegiality really amongst businesses in Pittsburgh. If you think, wine tasting, bourbon tastings, that kind of thing along those lines. So you can't see it well on the screen, it's too small, but you can see that we have on the on the top portion of that, you're going to see that we have an office suite that's has 2 offices plus 3 workspaces that Midwest Medicare Solutions will be moving in there. She currently has 5 employees total, but 3 full-times to be able to do that. So she'll have 5 offices, work kitchen, and an ADA bathroom. She works a lot with the Medicare population, so the ADA access is going to be really important for us in that space. You can see on the back side of it, we have a studio apartment, completely open there. And then we have the micro event center that will be happening in that space. That one's a little bit closer up for you to be able to see what's actually happening there. Midwest Medicare Solutions has big ideas of growing. So we designed it in such a way that she can eventually, if she expands the way that she thinks she's going to, we can take out that refrigerator and the shower there, or that micro event center, and make it more of a larger office suite. You can see the amount of office space that they can have in there. Just some basic elevations. I don't have super duper skills, but you can see the basic elevations of the outside and what we're aiming towards there on the north, and then the east elevation for visuals. We will have an office space expansion for a staff of 7. We'll have a break kitchen, ADA, bathroom and entrance, and meeting space. She'll be able to utilize the meeting space in that event center for educational meetings. The micro event center, like I mentioned, we had lots of ideas for things that we can do, but we try to make it as flexible as possible and making it convertible. It is close to the Catholic Church and the Catholic schools, so we see some opportunities for families that are utilizing that, and it's close to the church, so we see some ideas for wedding parties, people getting ready and that kind of thing being handy there. Small professional meetings. Kim and I visited about, sometimes they have people that come into town that they'd like to have a place for a lunch, that kind of thing. Community events, partnership events, receptions, parties. And we do also plan to have overnight lodging for 4 in that space. We will have technology for presentations, tables and chairs, seating outdoors and indoors, and the kitchens for classes and catering, because if Chucky has songs involved, people assume there's food involved. So we will also have the ADA bathroom in there. For the studio apartment, we have a full kitchen, a laundry, and a walk-in closet. It's pretty fancy for just a small space. You can imagine that my princess is going to live there quite happily while she finishes up her degree at Pittsburgh State. And then you can see kind of what we have envisioned for the outside, a good paint job, some flashy fixtures, and just pretty in and up in general. You guys have any questions?
Any questions for Chucky?
So when do you plan on this being completed?
Chuck, do you have a wedding reception you want to plan? I'm just kidding.
Well, I had one, but it's canceled.
Dang, I'm sorry about that. No, we're hoping by May. That was been our finish date. We've gotten a further, it's coming along nicely. HVAC and electrical are in there now. We're making some HVAC changes with it being so industrial and the ceiling. Mm-hmm. There's certainly some challenges with making that look attractive and the aesthetics of that. But so I think mid-May. Okay, any other questions? Thank you guys for your consideration. We appreciate it.
I would entertain a motion to approve, and Commissioner Cheryl will be excusing herself from this vote.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Moved by Chuck, seconded by Stu. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Thank you.
Exciting, very exciting. Pickleball court renovation project. Consider staff recommendation to accept the proposal submitted by Multi-Sports LLC of Wichita, Kansas for the complete removal and replacement of the existing tennis court and pickleball courts located at Four Oaks Complex for a total project cost of $575,250.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. Earlier this month, we released a request for proposals for the renovation of the pickleball courts in Lincoln Park. Being that we had allotted $500,000 in ARPA funding for this project. We had a pre-construction meeting. We had 5 qualified contractors show up. At that point in time, we gave them the option to bid it as a overlay or a demolition project. The 5 bids come back. There was quite a range of pricing, and we've decided to recommend Multi-Sports out of Wichita, which would be a project that involves the complete demolition and removal of the existing courts and go back with post-tension concrete. I'll be happy to answer any questions for you.
So no patching over?
No
just
patching,
completely replaced?
no ugly stuff underneath.
Yeah.
It's all new.
Move to approve.
Second.
Moved by Doc, seconded by Stu. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, Toby. Disposition of bids, Eagle Picture Technologies Manufacturing Facility. Consider staff's verbal recommendation to award the bid for the Eagle Picture Technologies Manufacturing Facility to the low bidder. I believe you have at your place a document.
Yes, everyone should have a copy of the document tonight. Excuse me. Mayor and Commissioners, this is a construction management risk project that we are doing. We are going to recommend award tonight to Branco Enterprises out of Neosho, Missouri. They have submitted a bid of $6,332,452 with a construction management fee of 3.25%. We were fortunate, we did an RFQ, we had eight qualified bidders come to the table. We narrowed that selection down to 5 and then asked them for a GMP price. And then tonight, we've reviewed, we did have a letter of recommendation as well from the architect for this contractor, and so we'll ask to move to proceed and authorize the mayor to sign contract documents once prepared.
Any questions for Matt? Is there a motion to approve?
There is. Move to approve.
Second.
Moved by Stu, seconded by Cheryl. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
Real estate sales contract. Consider staff recommendation to approve a real estate sales contract between the city and Brian McClure and Kristen McClure, in which the city will purchase 3 acres of land adjacent to Countryside Park from the McClures in the amount of $5,000.
Hello again. The goals of the Neighborhood Advisory Council are really encouraging neighborhoods and collaboration, pocket parks, things for kids to do. And this is a prime example. We had a group come to us from Countryside, the Friends of Countryside Neighbors Group in November, and they were looking to expand their existing park. So they have a small park within the development that Parks and Rec has maintained. It's been around
1980.
1980. Kiwanis is also involved in maintaining that park as well and helping support it. A neighbor that has adjacent property came to the group and wanted to sell 3 acres to be able to expand that park. So we are asking for approval on that and hope to support them, I guess, with a really clearing of the land and then any other advancements that they want to do. But Toby, do you want to speak to that?
We've been working with Michelle Brocksterman, and they've got a group together that's developing a good plan, looking at doing a lot of their own funding and raising funds for it. So it's a good opportunity for us to expand a park that will probably increase the traffic and use there. So it seems like a win for that community for sure.
Move to approve.
I'll second it.
Moved by Doc, seconded by Chuck. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any non-agenda reports or requests, Darren? Oh,
I don't think so.
You sure?
You never know with this group. We're busy, but no, I think we're good.
I would like to just kind of recognize some Pitt State athletes. Recent new national champions again, men's and women's track. And also the women's basketball team is, as most of you probably know, playing in the Final Four tomorrow night in Pittsburgh with an H, Pennsylvania. So good luck to them and keep up the good work representing Pittsburgh State University and the community. So,
exciting.
great job.
All right, we were going to move into executive session. An executive session is necessary for preliminary discussion regarding the acquisition of real property pursuant to KSA 754319B6 to discuss potential acquisition of real estate for development in the downtown district. Need a motion to recess into executive session for 15 minutes to discuss the potential acquisition for real estate for redevelopment in the downtown district pursuant to the preliminary discussion regarding the acquisition of real property exception under KSA 754319B6 with the meeting to resume in the commission room in 15 minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Doc, seconded by Cheryl. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, we will reconvene in 15 minutes.
are like, you can't change that system, you have to make them play in the new system, so it's. Yeah, we have thousands of branches in the US and Canada, and they try to roll
Commissioner
out
left
like.
behind. Oh, there she is.
Sorry, I was on the wrong side of the, moving out there. Henry was still on the phone.
We are reconvening. No votes were taken, no decisions were made. Executive session. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Doc, seconded by Cheryl. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Good evening. Thanks, everyone, for being here.